Hello world, it's Dave again, and I am one day out from going home to Vancouver, which is really exciting. But before I went back, I wanted to answer a few questions I had, and what I thought I'd do, as opposed to just answer a bunch of emails, I'm just going to answer all the questions of those 2 or 3 emails in one video because there's only a couple questions per email. So I'll hammer that out real fast. Should have done this a while ago. So Sean wrote me. He says, 28 from Ireland, looking into coming to Japan next year to teach. You've researched JET, Sean, and but you're also planning on applying to Interact. So JET ALTs receive around $3,380 a month. And they also can get things like subsidized housing and everything like that. So a really, really good wage. So there's no two ways about it. If you work for Interact, you'll make a lot less money. It's kind of a flip side thing is that the interviewing process for going through JET is way more stringent, and you're directly paid by the government, I believe. Like it's a more direct line to that money that you have, I don't want to call it more official because it's not like there's much variation in terms of the work that you do. Long story short, more stringent interview process, higher pay. So you're right, significantly more, and you get that sort of subsidized housing, which can be really, really significant. A lot of people, you said in your email, a lot of people said that renting in Japan is a nightmare and can cost upwards of 5 months rent to be paid up front and stuff. It's not that much of a nightmare. I mean, you'll often get, if you work for JET, you get tons of help, like I said, and you found out that you're subsidized. You'll also get help in placement as to where you live. Same goes if you work for Interact. They're going to help you find a place, a really popular place, one that I'm in, one that you'll see a lot of videos of anybody who works for Interact in, are Leo Palaces. And those can kind of have a rent of around $600 Canadian American per month if you're going to rent them. And then that includes, a parking spot. Utilities are around somewhere around just under $100 a month, again, Canadian or American. So I guess the easiest thing, what's kind of like you said, do you feel that's enough money? $3,380 per month, is that enough money? Good Lord, yes. You'll save money, you'll travel, you do whatever the hell you want. That would be tons of money. But I can say with my amount that I'm paid, which is much less than that, you're still in a similar position. I live very frugal. I don't have a huge social circle. I've kind of kept it that way and stuff, but I've been saving lots of money per month. Given there are months that you have less work days and so you make a little less, but if I am paid a full month's salary, which is, the majority of months that I'm being paid for here, I save a significant amount of money, somewhere between $800 to $1,000 Canadian a month. Bear in mind, I'm pretty frugal, but just telling you what's possible. And to give you an indication of how much I am paid. I figured the easiest way to do that, because it's funny how people are so hush-hush about the amount that they make and everything like that, but if anything, I see that only in the interests of the company that's employing you, because then they can pay employees and pick and choose and not have another employee going, when I work equally as much as this person, why am I paid less? I don't care about sharing how much it is that I make. I have no issue with that. Other people might, whatever. So in a month, full month, I've got, 20 work days. My base salary is 228,000 yen. Transport fees for that month, because I can charge the amount that I've traveled using my vehicle, which is rented, is 5,890. And my allowance, in addition to that, I get an allowance of 20,000 because I have a vehicle, and then another 10,000 roughly because I live out in the countryside. So I have an allowance of another 35,000. 10,000 yen is equivalent to basically $100, a little bit more. So your grand total there is, let's bring up the calculator for all you already faster than me to figure that out. 228,000. That's not going to work. 228,000 plus 5,890 plus 35,000 for my allowances equals 268,890. So my total before any kind of deductions are occurring, if you were to convert that roughly into a Canadian or American, is about $2,688.90. So about about 2,700 a month, I guess, basically 2,700 a month compared to that 3,300 a month. Also, I'm paying rent, whereas their rent is likely subsidized. But there you go. You got the picture on that. That's, I hope, answers most of your questions for subsidized housing and things like that, and Interact versus working for Jet. Much longer, stringent interview process for Jet, which a lot of people get rejected from. Way easier to get into Interact, but you're going to take a pay hit because of that. So that's for you, Sean. That's your questions. I hopefully answered. Next one is Tammy. Tammy already wrote me, and then you had just like one more additional question, real quick thing, which I can basically you're worrying about stuff that you don't need to worry about, and I understand because it's really confusing, the sort of language that's written into the contracts that you deal with, and it's just the company protecting their ass, but it makes it look like things are sometimes worse than they actually are. So you said one last question. The last email mentioned that I would be given an option to renew, but I've received Interact's contract today stating that it is non-renewable and will not be renegotiated. Is this normal, or did I get the short end of the stick here? I was looking forward to the long term. So what that means is that when they say non-renewable, they mean that contract you are holding in your hands is non-renewable, and that contract is non-negotiable. But that doesn't mean when that contract finishes that you can't get another contract. That one's non-renewable, but can you renew and get another contract? Absolutely you can. Can you also negotiate another contract? Yes, but you can't negotiate that one. So they're just trying to cover their back. The basic thing is that midway through that contract, you couldn't use that same contract to renew. You couldn't use that same contract and say, I want to negotiate my salary from this contract. All it means is there has to be a brand new contract. So that's all it means. You're going to be fine. You're going to get a new renewed contract when you want to, and if you'd like, you can negotiate for a higher amount of money depending on your ability with Japanese. And like with any company, they're going to be really resistant. Well, any company that you're working for, which isn't like an engineering firm or a high level professional position. For example, I live with a roommate, and he said that he's now in his third year, speaks fluent Japanese, and he said, and is well loved, specifically requested by his schools to go back to them, 5 of them. And he said to the company, I would like to get a raise. I think I'm worth it now in my third year. Can you give me this amount of a raise? And they said, no, we absolutely can't do that. You know, we've had people working here for 7 years who haven't asked for a raise. And everyone knows how ridiculous that is. That's like, because somebody else hasn't identified their own self-worth, shouldn't you also realize you're not worth anymore? Which is insane, but it's the sort of reasoning that companies will use to say that you aren't warranted to have any sort of a pay increase. And so he said, that's fine, I'm going to leave. And they said, okay, that's fine. And then when he was packing up shop, they got a hold of him again and said, you know what, we actually we probably could give you that pay raise. So if you want a pay raise, it usually amounts to threatening them with leaving. You just need to be ready that if you aren't going to get that pay raise, that you'll have to leave. So when you renegotiate, if that's an issue, if you are someone who absolutely wants that, you can very likely get it, but you have to be willing to go as far as basically almost getting your plane ticket. That's just the way these companies work. We are a infinitely renewable resource as a teacher over here. I mean, certainly we improve and value when you come over and you've got a little bit more experience, but there are just this is a sought after position because all you need, which is so funny to say, all you need now is a degree. And where a degree, maybe, you know, 60 years ago used to mean something more. A degree now, an arts degree, I should say, because that's what I have. That's what I don't think you find many mechanical engineers, coming out of university to go teach over in Japan. Or if they do, I mean, more power to them, but it's not the majority. It's art students who couldn't get, like, what are you going to do with your what's a fantastic degree? I've talked to people who've come over with it. It's like an art history degree. That's practical for the workforce, just like mine, history. I think all these things improve you. I'm not taking a shot at the value of education and broadening your perspective, but in terms of a monetary return, that's the sort of people are here, and there's lots of us. There's lots and lots and lots of people, so it takes that extra pressure for us if we want to get something like a pay raise. So that's just, I thought I'd go on that little tangent to sort of let you know about that aspect of it as well. So looking through the emails, that's Tammy, that's for you. That should answer your questions. Don't worry, your contract's in great shape. There's nothing out of the norm here. They're not trying to screw you. It's part and parcel. It's just what happens. Sean answered your questions about the wages, and then let's see, and then I got a question from Andy. Okay, it says. Okay, Andy says, I've read a lot of reviews of Interact, and although many of the reviewers seem to have unrealistic expectations or didn't thoroughly do their research before accepting the position, one common theme is the difficulty of living on the pay. Ha! Ha! I assume I'll get a position in a rural area or small city based on my research. All the pay isn't substantial. You should be able to live comfortably within reason and have the funds to enjoy your time in Japan. In your experience, is the wage sufficient for you to travel around Japan on the holidays? Absolutely. I don't know what kind of lifestyle people are coming from. But like I've covered this basically. Like your rent's going to be about $600 a month. I've gone over the amount that I paid in the course of the year, and that leaves tons of money to do whatever you want. If you're not partying every single weekend and blowing your money on ridiculous things, you'd have money for a trip. I mean, one of the beautiful things about Japan is that there's mass transit available. You can go to crazy distances across Japan using their train system. And so, no, do not worry that you would have sufficient money if you create even the most semi-reasonable budget for yourself. To be able to do whatever else you're interested in and save a little bit of money. I'm saving money. I've gone all over the place. I've done tons of trips. I've experienced a number of different things, and I don't feel hard up or like I'm suffering. Even that, I'm a big guy. I'm over 200 pounds. I require a lot of fuel in my engine to keep this thing going, and food costs are fairly minimal for me in a country that I would say, when Vancouver's pretty expensive, their food prices are very similar to Vancouver, and that's not even been an issue for me. So don't worry about that, my friend. Head on over, budget your money, Andy, and it shouldn't be a problem whatsoever. I think that's people just being crazy. Like, I don't know. Like I say, maybe they've come from a very, very high standard of living, and so this seems like small potatoes to them. But it's not. It's not. I rent as low as $600 a month. Again, I'm from Vancouver, so rent's pretty expensive there. Crazy expensive in my opinion. But at $600 a month rent, you're making about $2,700 Canadian American roughly a month in pay, and you're fine. You're totally fine. So that's it. That's 3 emails, 3 groups of questions. Sean, Andy, Tammy. I hope I helped. I hope I haven't taken so long that you have had to have looked elsewhere for the answers to these questions. But there it is. There's a little blurb on, pay raises, getting paid, everything like that. Anyways, I'm getting packed. I'm already packed, basically. I'm way ahead of my game. I was very careful on this one. I didn't leave anything to chance. My flight leaves tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Not even that long. I'm flying to Seoul, which I think will be cool. I've heard so many cool things about Seoul and South Korea. And then from there, 10-hour flight over to Vancouver. Heading out pretty fast to Shuswap Lake in the interior of BC for a buddy's cabin. Very stoked about that as well. Gonna see some friends. Anyways, I won't make this like a general life blog. It was to answer these questions. So, anybody else watching this, thanks for checking in. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. I make many more videos. If you have a question, my contact's down below. I can answer any questions about teaching in Japan or life in general, should you choose to email me. Yeah, so thanks for tripping with Dave, and until we meet again next time, world, ciao for now. Peace.